So we were fishing out deep into the planet's shadow when Weary, me pilot at the time, he turns back to me with this weird look on his face and he says, I reckon I just saw something big. Now, Weary'd been out in the deep a few years more than me, so I should have taken him more serious like, but I don't. Just sounds good to me. And as I get all excited, Weary's already talking about getting back out into the light and heading back to port. But Weary, says I, if we can bag something real big, we could take the whole week off. Now tighten your bolts and let's go find it and kill it. Now Weary has just married his second wife and that sounded pretty good to him. So we keep cruising around slow, eyes peering into the cloudy gloom when I get no idea. Roll us over, I tell him, and we start to spin all gentle like, and then all I'm seeing is this ginormous eye, bigger than anything I've ever seen. It's twice the size of our little tub and this hellish shade of orange that I'll never forget. Weary starts using words you wouldn't say in the same cave as your mother, but all I can do is stare back at the darkspawn thing. Weary throws the throttle so far forward it's halfway into the void, and for a second, just for a second mind, I think about putting a harpoon in that eye.
But wouldn't you have your fishing cable on it?
Exactly. Now, I didn't want to anchor us to some deep beast, so I hold off and start swearing some myself. And now we're corkscrewing some, because Weary's gone all Navy pilot on me, and I lose sight of that damn eye, but then with a jerk that has me whacking my head against the hull, we stop dead in the water. Something's got us. Gripping us. I can't see it exactly, but I can feel it, Engines straining, hull creaking. Weary's up front inventing entirely new vulgarities and religion so loud a hydrophone could pick him up from Mantarum. And I'm thinking, this is a lousy way to die, and sincerely wishing I just shot the son of a fish anyway when he just lets us go.
Just like that?
Just like that. We make it back to port faster than we've ever been before or since. Boat's got a little bit of denting in it, but nothing else. But I don't mind telling you, Weary and I still spend that week in the dry.
What do you think it was, Steve?
I reckon it was a kraken.
Ant shit. More like crack in my ass. You boys get pissed on a fishing trip, got yourselves worked up over shadows, and spun the stupidest story I ever heard. You want to hear a real story, kid? I ever tell you the story about me and Steelhead the spar shark? That was a good one.
Yeah, every damn chance you get, and twice on the weekend.
But what is this? This is a podcast, I think.
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly a podcast where two friends, I'm Chris and that's Aaron.
I am.
We should probably introduce ourselves as well. We should start doing that because people need to know our names.
It's true.
Chris and Aaron.
Chris and Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron and Chris.
Aaron and Chris. Yeah. Aaron and Chris actually is better because it's in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with two ways, I'm just constant. I'm just always. Anyway, unimportant detail. And what are we doing,
Right.
Chris?
What are we doing? We are creating a collaborative world-building podcast in which each of us comes up with some setting elements for a particular setting that we've established. Season 2 is the Celestial Deep, which is a kind of science fiction-y solar system that's beneath the
water.
waves.
Yes.
But yeah.
There are no waves because there's no top.
There's no there's no top. That's right. But we do not discuss any of the things that we want to bring into the setting before the episode, so that both of us are quite surprised sometimes, or a lot of the time, at what the other person brings. And then we sometimes have issues, and we talk those out, and we try to fit things into the setting so that it is a coherent whole.
Yeah, no, I couldn't describe that any better.
So, Aaron, the holidays are over.
They are.
My holidays.
Yes.
You don't get holidays. Or do you consider every day a holiday?
No,
No.
but December basically and early January basically is holiday for me because everybody's got so much family stuff going on. All the games sort of get put on pause.
I don't think people should do that. I think instead of seeing their families, people should go and play Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't.
Or
entirely
hold on.
Mm.
Or play Dungeons and Dragons with their families.
Yeah.
God, my mother would hate that. Well, why are the goblins in this city and they're taking the jobs away from the natives? I don't understand. Did you see the trailer for the latest Ghost in the Shell?
The latest Ghost in the Shell? No.
There's like a new Ghost in it. Go on YouTube. Just say Ghost in the Shell trailer.
All right. I'll do that now.
This is the new one.
Okay.
This is a live react.
Yeah.
To the Ghost in the Shell trailer that's just come out.
Right,
It's called
July
The
2026.
Ghost in the Shell. Okay.
Music absolutely rocks.
Yeah.
Mostly because it reminds me of the music from Bubblegum Crisis 2040.
Aaron's beard is moving a lot. It's more than usual. He's liking it. He likes anime.
All right.
Breathing heavily.
Yeah, no,
I think he just saw a sexy anime lady. Is that right, Aaron? Is that
amongst a variety of other things. I really appreciate the fact that they've made an effort to make the art style look closer to the that sort of late 80s, early 90s style.
Close to the Masamune Shiro artwork as well.
Beautiful. I didn't know the name, but I am pleased to hear it. And I think that looks great. And like I said, it's not a small thing that the music feels like that era of science fiction, futuristic music. And it helps that I happen to really, really like that shit.
I recently showed Ghost in the Shell, the 90s movie, to my wife because I got she's never seen it.
Right.
And I got like a nice Blu-ray copy of it. And it's so good. Like it holds up. I remember discussions about it where people were watching it when I was in high school and people were like, this is so confusing. But it's not actually very confusing at all. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward movie with some great visuals and gives you some space to breathe in the middle with some like absolutely fucking amazing scenes and music.
I completely agree. I think I understand where people were coming from when they said that it was, inverted commas, hard to understand, because in terms of cartoon movies at the time, it is just purely an adult movie.
Exactly,
which is
and there
joy
were
of
it was.
anime.
I don't understand. Where is the mouse in this movie?
Yeah.
Why is it? I don't which one's the mouse?
It's an absolute classic. There hasn't really been a version of Ghost in the Shell that I haven't enjoyed for one reason or another. I think it's
like Standalone Complex was good.
I haven't watched that in forever.
The second Standalone Complex I never watched.
A ditto. I even enjoyed the live action with Scarlett Johansson.
Never saw it.
Yeah, it's good. It's different.
I watched Battle Angel Alita. The live action one on a plane, and I didn't like it. What was good about it is that it was pretty faithful to the source material, I think. But what I didn't like about it is that it looked ugly.
It looked ugly.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just to me, it just didn't translate very well into live action. That's it.
Right. I felt quite differently. I really liked how it looked. I felt uncomfortable around the main character's appearance for a short while, which I think is kind of the point. But it then quickly became
she's meant
normal.
to be unsettling, I think.
Yeah.
And also women. Am I right?
No.
Yeah. I'm not right?
No.
I'm not right about women?
No.
Not
with that tone of voice.
I think I'm right about women.
That's part of the problem.
It seems like their problem, not my problem. Yeah, women. Easiest to bully minority. That's right. On to my next topic. Anyway, we're not going to get into that one. You're a minority?
No, I'm not. I'm far too
actually,
large
I was,
and white
I was
and
going
cis
to
and straight.
But I was going to actually pivot this part of the conversation to how like in each generation, sort of there's a struggle against like outsider cultures, and for us it was the gays. They're gonna come in and they're gonna fuck your kids, and now it's like trans people. They're gonna come in and they're gonna fuck your kids, and then the next one is going to be, what's it going to be? I don't know. I think it's going to be furries.
Because kind of the hints of that are already there. What with the little like litter trays of the schools lie and all that.
Which is not true.
No, it's not. It's a lie.
This is not real. My mother has asked me, what's up with the litter trays at schools? And I'm like,
it's a lie.
They don't exist unless there's cats there. They don't exist. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it's going to be furries. And I think you know how like that whole trend of like people getting older and becoming more conservative. For me, that's what it's going to be. I think I'm going to be super like rabidly anti-furry when I get like when I'm in my 70s. I'm going to be like, we need a furry genocide. That's going to be me. Right. But having said that, right, I also believe that it is the least problematic evolution of my character.
Okay, that's ever so slightly worrying. Mind you, because the general gist that the older you get, the more conservative you get is becoming less of a truth with our generation specifically, primarily because we don't have money.
Yeah, we don't have money. We don't have a future. And our children also will not have a future. Yep. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. It's hard to want to keep things the way they are when the way things are shit for you.
If you think about it, actually, conservatives did such a great job ruining the world that it will eventually get better.
I hope so.
So shit.
I do genuinely believe so. It's just that I'm not entirely sure I'll survive it.
Oh no! Sorry, no. You're gonna be one of the first in the camps for sure.
Yeah, or just dead in the streets or something. I'm not tough enough to make it particularly far in any revolution. But
I keep thinking about like
the future,
all the ICE stuff that's happening in the dystopian hellhole of America.
Yes.
And I keep thinking like, you know that guy that was recently murdered, like 10 shots, the nurse, right?
Mr. Pretty, yes.
Mr. Pretty?
Yes.
Or is it Pretty? Anyway, whatever his name is, I was thinking I would be that guy. I would be that guy because I could not stop. I have a short temper, for one, and I could not stop myself from trying to protect someone, and I probably would assault an ICE officer, to be honest. I think I'd probably try to kill them in a situation like that. It's mind-boggling.
I hope I'm that brave, and I believe you would. You're a braver man than I in those kinds of circumstances.
Is the thing. I'm impulsive. I think, like, I don't know. Like, I can't see myself seeing someone like rough up a woman and then just stand there and go, oh no, oh.
Especially after weeks of like violence and previous literal murder. Yeah, I hope that I would be that kind of person, and I fear that I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you would. I think you'd do the right thing. I think when push comes to shove, I think people are surprised at what they are capable of.
I have called out bullies on the street before. And since one of those turned out to just be a rather bad misunderstanding between a group of friends, and I feel horribly embarrassed about, which I do think about probably more often than I should. I have some reason to believe I might, but yeah,
I think we would, and I think we'd get killed for it.
Yeah.
But what a way to go, really.
Yeah, and I would like to say that I will remember the names of Good and Pretty or Pretty. They were wonderful people who did not deserve to die, and I hope they're remembered, and I hope the assholes who killed them go to jail when the Democrats are back in power for the rest of their lives. I'm not holding my breath about that.
They won't, because the current division benefits both parties.
I said hope, not expect.
Yeah. America is a corrupt wasteland, and it will never get better. It will get better, but
it always has to.
Eventually,
it hasn't got much worse to get.
There's still ways to go, I think. Anyway, I think we should probably start our episode.
We should, but I do have one small point. Yes, I'm wondering if you have the same issue that I do. Is that when you're writing up your notes for season 2, that you consistently write the celestial depth instead of the celestial deep, and then I just constantly get flooded with an image of like Edward Scissorhands with wings.
I like Johnny Depp. Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay.
The celestial depth. Yeah. Or like Jack Sparrow with like big angel white wings.
Johnny Depp is so cool. I haven't heard much about him recently.
This is
I
almost
wonder what he's been up to.
And now we're going to do some ready, setting, go and look back on what we've already been doing.
Okay, fantastic. Ready, setting, go.
Ready, setting, go.
What have we done so far? What a mess! What mess have we created?
Well, I mean, that first episode where we just kept doubling up on things was really interesting, and we had to find ways of making our various ideas on Slur Brian and the Leviathans mesh.
That was an interesting one, yes.
Mm-hmm. It's probably our most contentious one yet, which is a really great way to start the season, I thought.
Yeah, pretty good. The second one, less contentious.
Much less so, mostly because I kind of got way over detailed about boats.
Vessels.
Yes.
Vessels.
The nuclear vessels.
And we talked about... Oh, you talked about the elements of outlier societies?
Yes. I thought I wanted... It was one of the more interesting ideas that came up during our long intro, and I wanted to give us a shape of things without being too prescriptive.
The Shape of Water?
Yeah, great film. Really enjoyed it.
Fish.
Guillermo del Toro.
I never saw it.
Genuinely great film that does get overshadowed by the fact that, yes, there is a monster fish fuck that happens off screen, thankfully.
I mean, I don't know why I haven't seen it, because it feels like something I'd really enjoy.
And it's, maybe even good research material for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We put in all these elements that I think are really cool. I like all the stuff you did with the ships, because like I said last episode, I don't know a lot about boats. When I was talking about that one boat, the Hedopolis, I didn't know what type of boat it was. I just sort of had an image in my head of something that was like highly modular and stuff like that.
Whereas you gave us what every watery setting requires. Pirates.
Also water. Yeah, pirates, that's right. The Pirates of the Lightless Duchies.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Fable fodder.
Fable fodder. Aaron, so I want to just start this by saying that you actually inspired this fable fodder. Because, I think you talk a lot about culture and you talk a lot about cultural practices. And that's something that interests me a lot as a human in the real world, but I think maybe I focus a little less on that as a human making like world building, if that makes sense.
Okay,
I
don't know what you mean, but your introduction about like music in Haliacon was one of my favorite, most to me pivotal moments from that first season.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So you know what? I take it back. I'm the greatest.
True, truly.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you today about the masks in a segment that I call Don't Take the Mask Off. One tradition which transcends many cultural boundaries is the near-religious wearing of masks by the denizens of the celestial deep. The habit is tied to an early phenomenon in the ancient histories of many worlds, referred to colloquially as the face stealer myth. The stories of each culture vary wildly, of course, as do the diverse mythologies of our own world, but a constant is the idea of monsters, spirits, ancestors, or gods who will take an individual's face and wear it as their own. In many cases, this is literal, in some metaphorical, and in others an aspect of some early conception of a spirit world. The only solution to this supernatural conundrum seems to have been the wearing of masks. Though each society obviously had different traditions and taboos regarding the specifics, the concept remains a powerful one on most worlds of the deep. As the Coreward Pact worlds expanded outwards, a few dominant cultural ideas took root, and in the modern age, though bemoaned by traditionalists and anthropologists alike, there is a common trend across the deep. Most folk own at least 3 masks: the face, the friend, and the fiend. Each has a specific role in society, mostly explained by its name, though many nuances exist. The face is the daily visage that most folk allow to be seen by the world. Usually it is molded somewhat to resemble the features of the individual wearing it, though often with fewer identifying details. It is worn when existing in the world, working or doing business. Face masks tend to be neutral in expression, as one never knows how a stranger might take a jovial countenance, for example. The face is often worn in an official capacity by CEOs and monarchs, with few of these individuals ever being seen without it. For many, it's a sort of brand. The friend is a semi-private mask one wears with friends, good acquaintances, and potential lovers. It is usually, though not always, a smiling visage. It is the countenance worn when socializing, playing games, flirting, or relaxing. Sometimes, the friend can be seen at high-powered business meetings, though not often, as a kind of act of deference, showcasing rare vulnerability. It is a tricky social maneuver to pull off, the consequences being a deep personal shame and pity from outsiders. The Fiend is a very serious mask, and it indicates that something has gone wrong. It is a mask worn when emotions are heightened, particularly in anger or to exact revenge. Seeing someone with a fiend mask in public is a sure indicator to get out of their way. In fact, in many places, the fiend mask is banned from public places and only able to be donned in special dueling zones. This is the face of violence, yes, but it is also the face of sorrow, of loss, and betrayal. It is rare to see it outside of combat situations. Though the three masks are common across the deep, many cultures buck the trend. The Coreward Pact Orcadians, for example, possess as many as 16 individual masks, their etiquette-heavy culture prizing precision and nuance. The Mantarians make do with just 5. In direct opposition to the trend, the Torturak Alliance of the Outer Treaty abstains from masks completely. Their naked faces are seen as slightly obscene when out and about, as well as naively honest. In private, between spouses and families, of course, masks are rarely worn. It is a form of great intimacy to see someone's true face for the first time.
This is most interesting. It's a vast change to the overall society. And I think in workable words, I might tweak this just a smidgen, but I like what you're doing. But the most interesting part is a few years ago, a good friend of mine who's a writer wanted a little help with a setting that she was inventing a story within. And the primary culture in that all wore masks, and the face was a sign of like privacy and so forth.
Ooh,
so this is not an idea that's entirely new to me, although your expression of it with the multiple masks is different.
I had this thought, I guess my inspiration, like a lot of things, sort of came to me in a flash, where I just had this image of a room full of people and they were all wearing masks. I thought it was like a really cool visual, and then I sort of thought, well, why are they all wearing masks? That's dumb. And then I thought, well, what if there is actually a slightly mysterious reason for why societies might want to do that? And I sort of came to it through like the lens of, yes, there's like a bunch of like common myths that have that as a central theme, a central idea.
Yeah.
Like I also like and this might change in the future, but I also like the idea of like one culture from the Celestial Deep meeting another brand new culture, and they're all wearing masks, but the masks are like slightly different. Yeah, I just like I feel like that could be explored more. But yeah,
I do. I think the founding myth needs a little bit
I think
of expansion, but I love it. This is cool and interesting, and of course it also means that all the breathing apparatus that Marinauts would use when they're out in the deep itself would be sort of resembling the masks perhaps that they wear indoors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. My first section is called the Strom. Strom.
Strom.
Some time ago, the Leviathans of the Coreward Pact issued a series of acts of kindness that individually had little effect, but in aggregate allowed for a tremendous increase in trade between the inner worlds and the outer treaty planets. This led to the formation or growth of several interplanetary trading companies that became terribly wealthy, merging and merging again until there were only a few left. Inarguably, the most successful of these was the Strom Trading Fleet, founded and guided into a vast mercantile conglomerate by Nathaniel Strom and a small swarm of siblings, cousins, spouses, and children that all showed a remarkable degree of competence, if not brilliance. several generations later, and the STF was a pillar of civilization that few thought the modern deep could do without. Wealthier than any outer treaty world, and with more sway than most of the lesser Coreward planets. Then, the same Leviathans that helped bring the Strom Trading Fleet to such dizzying heights laid it low. Leviathans across the Pact required acts of kindness that savaged the economic and political underpinnings of the STF, and when a few worlds, at the urging of their local Strom representatives, didn't fully comply, they were cut off from their supplies of slurbrine immediately. Faced with the dilemma of dismantling their reliance on the STF or slurbrine, each caved quickly to their need for the Leviathan's vital fluid, and within 5 years, the once deep-spanning monolith was shattered. Faced with the seeming antipathy of the Coreward Leviathans, the boldest leaders of the very extended Strom family took what wealth and ships they could salvage and fled to the planets of the outer treaty worlds. There they received an initially poor reception. The STF had not been kind to populations and civilizations the primarily Coreward Strom family considered beneath them at best and barbarians the rest of the time. Further, the various treaties that govern their relations with the vital Coreward worlds required them to enforce the policy of dissolution of the STF. The Strom nevertheless carved out for themselves a new place between the outer treaty worlds by leveraging their ships and expertise as traders, and have become the most reliable and honest smugglers to be found. So much so that the governments of many outer treaty planets regularly utilize Strom trading networks, codifying the bribes, apparent gaps in patrols to ensure their successes. In other places, the Strom have literally carved themselves new ports, and these lawless coves are vibrant hotbeds of wealth, violence, graft, and trade.
I like that a lot.
Sort of
that works.
They're companions to your pirates from last episode.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, and like that movement from sort of like one sphere of influence to another, I think that works really well as well.
I'd wanted to give a little more shape to the history that we're slowly forming.
The shape of water?
No, the shape of history. You can tell because one's liquid and the other one's not.
Is water a liquid? No, wait, sorry. Yes, water is a liquid. Sorry, is history a is history a gas?
Plasma, definitely plasma.
Plasma. No, that's really good. I like that one.
Fairly simple, but like an important sort of element of any sort of game world.
It works.
Definitely shades of East India trading company in there.
Yeah, a trading company that never did anything wrong. You heard it here, folks.
I did omit one element because it was too silly. I did have a little section about them suffering under some unionism, which was then shut down, and that it was the Strom Trading Fleet Union, the STFU, that was shut up.
That's very good.
But I decided that was too silly, so I took it out.
Also, I feel like union busting is kind of sad in talking about it in the modern world.
God,
like
yes.
So prevalent.
Well, on that cheery note, what more fable and fodder do you have for me?
Okay, I am back on my bullshit with Worlds of the Coreward Pact. So I'm going to describe some worlds of the Coreward Pact.
That seems reasonable.
I'm not going to describe every world of the Coreward Pact because there are many, and also because we want to leave lots of space for people to fill in when they are running games.
Not space, water.
Water, sorry. Yes. We want to leave enough of a puddle for them to put their... you know what? This one got away from me. So let's get on to the worlds of the Coreward Pact. Many inhabited worlds orbit the swirling, dimming, luminous void, and though the great sages of Mantarim focus their studies on what they consider the civilized places of the Mantarian cultural sphere, or Mantawa, in their prestige dialect, countless so-called barbarian states occupy this region as well. Distances in the celestial deep are often strange, and no one culture seems to have a good handle on how many inhabited worlds exist in close proximity to the luminous void. Over time, what Coreward and Outer truly meant has changed, and as some societies, perhaps a little further out, have been grudgingly welcomed by Pact members, others somewhat closer were sidelined as a result of irreconcilable political differences. Nevertheless, there is a short list of Coreward Pact worlds which have more or less remained the same over the centuries. Their cultures and practices may have changed, but they are considered to be the first emergent interplanetary civilizations which early in their deep-faring histories made contact with one another. From the perspective of Muntarim, they are all considered Muntawa, which roughly means people capable of speech, and showcases the casual arrogance of the high Imperial social order. The first world I want to talk about, and I've just done a paragraph on each world because I think any more than that is too much, is called Orcadia Prime. Closest to Muntarim, and one of the near states which did not get subsumed by the Empire's early expansion, Orcadians inhabit the largest Coreward planetoid. Orcadia Prime, once simply Orcadia before the outward expansion of inner powers, is a gigantic rocky world with breathtaking fungal forests. The people of this world are known for their complex social hierarchy as well as countless rules which govern all interpersonal relationships. Their main languages, known for precision, were used as the basis for UPM, the universal punch card modes, which run nearly all modern technology, and remain the premier second languages of anyone hoping to do business abroad. The second world is called Dwaynort. Dwaynort is a world well known for its exquisite silk lantern diving suits, able to keep its wearer alive when submerged in the deep. Each is a unique artistic expression of its wearer's family history and great deeds, woven with fine silkfish strands and stained with elegant squid inks. Apart from this small and exclusive industry, the culture is concerned with the creation of beautiful artifacts with which to honor their dead. The caverns of this planetoid are filled with countless tombs, stuffed to the brim with superb sculptures, paintings, tomes, and even bespoke machines reflecting some aspect of the deceased person's past that they wanted to bring with them into the afterlife in order to bargain with the pale leviathans said to guard the gates of heaven. The third world is called Galave. The people of Galave are human in a way which stretches the meaning of the word somewhat. They are able to swim in the deep, unaided by machines owing to their gills, though they cannot withstand great pressures. Some are born with shells like turtles, and others still possess various piscine features which set them apart from the great bulk of the celestial deep's inhabitants. Their world too is a strange one. Though outwardly a rocky planetoid, it possesses many perfectly spherical chambers of a composite metal which still baffles scientists. In their mythologies, these chambers are the eggs laid by Old Mother from which the first Galaveans emerged. The next world is Verbuto. Verbuto is not a world in the traditional sense, except in that people live inside of it. It is the corpse of a great leviathan, a pyramid-like creature with a dozen dead, unblinking eyes, each the size of an inland sea. That people evolved within it is bizarre enough, and that they survived to create a technological society at all is a miracle, considering the hostile biological environment of the not-quite planetoid. Visitors to Verbuto must wear protective equipment within it, for the rains are mixed with ancient digestive juices, and the air is foul to one not born to breathe it. The folk of Verbuto are passionate explorers, savage fighters, and occasional conquerors, known for a form of domination poetry known as lavka, cruel verses recited over a corpse one has contributed to creating. One such poem, the Resistance Lavka, was spoken over the body of a high Imperiad who failed to successfully colonize Verbuto. And the final world is called Drobgo. Though Drobgo remains a vassal state of Muntarim, owing to the reduced Imperiad structure imposed on it in antiquity, this is true on paper only, and its people form a proud and independent society. Their world is a small one, but Drobgonians were one of the first folk to successfully record and interpret the data ballad of a Leviathan. Specifically, it was the ancient Leviathan Never Too Late to Quit, now gone from the region. Before it left, its relationship with the people of Drobgo jump-started the slurbrine industry, one which continues to this day in a diminished form with other Leviathans further from the world. Drogbo produces many computing machines reliant on the UPM innovations of Orcadian origin. That is it. That is all for now.
Wow, lots of little details in there. We have our first sort of near-human species, the discussion of our computing system, which is something that I've been turning over in my noggin, and I love what you've done. Punch cards was definitely part of it.
Punch cards.
Yes. It's one of the things I've talked about my mum about. She actually, when she was in school, worked on some of the early punch card things. So yes, no, I love all of that. That's a lot of world building in a very short amount of time that you just did.
Yeah, so I thought, honestly, I feel like I probably should have put this in an episode 2 kind of context, because it's hard to, it's hard to tell really what order we should be doing any of these in. I tend to just go with like whatever feels right. But like in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, they would be good early on as you're listening to sort of get more of a sense of place with some of these things. But you know what? This is an experiment. This is an experiment, and I think we're doing okay.
Part of inventing a world is following those veins of inspiration and then expanding out. Sometimes you just need to do the hard work to fill in the gaps, and sometimes you just wait to backfill, I suppose, because you're suddenly excited by it.
And I suppose, one of the things we talk about here in terms of like creativity and how does it all work is that it's not linear. It's not a linear process. No. It's not that you will come up number 1 with the name of your world, and number 2 with all the continents, and number 3 with all the people, and number 4 with all the cultures. It doesn't work like that. You get ideas not in any particular order. And I suppose when we present it here in the podcast, it is also not in any kind of
remotely
order.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Now I'm going to talk about ice, but not the one that's been in the news lately, thankfully.
Oh my God, we're about to get controversial here, guys.
We're really not. This is one of those ideas that I had started writing about last year and needed to fill out. I think it's very cool. I want to do it, but yes, the word ice, the actual ice, not the acronym.
Oh, just like ice.
Yes,
like real ice,
like solid water. Yes.
So it's not okay. So it's not sort of like anyway. Today I'm going to talk about the Gestapo. Now in our world, actually, it's convergent evolution. The word actually just means hamburger.
Yeah. All right. The icebreakers. Ice is a rarity and a luxury in the celestial deep. The warm waters around the luminous void in the Coreward Pact zone do not allow for it to form naturally, while the outer treaty worlds further away occasionally find blocks of ice in their waters, melting as they drift towards the luminous void. The relatively steady temperatures in the caverns of the various worlds are also far too warm. In the early days of exploration within the celestial deep, some lucky outer treaty worlds brought ice within their cities and quickly learned to use it to store excess food, which quickly became a survival strategy. Ice was one of the most popular and rare imports a treaty world could trade to their Coreward kin. Demand for ice grew to the point where brave souls would head out into the bitter dark, seeking ice where it forms. Travel here is extremely hazardous, even with the modern technology, and these early pioneers had far less, leading to a terrible attrition of crew and ships. These early ice miners would locate relatively small chunks with lamps before brave crew members would lather themselves all over with blubber before donning clumsy suits of waterproofed canvas and rubber. Then the brave divers would head out into the literally freezing waters to attach a net over the ice so it could be pulled back into the light behind the vessel. Besides the ever-present darkness and cold, there are titanic masses of ice and rock, strange currents that pick up speed and then stop in violation of the natural order which seems to only be a suggestion here. The beasts of these waters are foul, strange, and capable of seemingly impossible things, of which simply seeing in the dark is the least of them. In the modern era, ice can be cut up and brought inside a vessel for safer transport, with the external tools and grappling arms unique to the icebreaker ships. The dark is penetrated with sonar, hydroscopes, and far more powerful lamps. The trade in ice was so lucrative, and the experiences of those that returned so transformative, that a guild has formed around the practice, which is now recognized by governments all across the deep. While commonly known as the Icebreakers, the Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati are an odd bunch, as their experiences in the bitter dark seem to change them. They live in small communes, often on moons or far away from the nearest warren or city. New members not born into the guild are accepted only if they're willing to cast away all other ties. Thankfully, their wealth buys them much tolerance for their strangeness.
Yes. The Fridgerati?
The Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati.
The Endarkened Fellowship of the This is very good.
This is what I meant by having to up my name game to your level.
This is really good. Yeah, this is my favorite thing of this season so far. Honestly, that's great. My God. Oh, that works. I love that.
Cool.
That's fantastic.
I do have a little bit more to talk about the strangeness of the icebreakers, but I'll come to that next.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I have, in that case, I've got, let me have a little look here. So I've got one more thing to put in, and I was 50-50. Like I could have put it into next episode or this episode. I don't think it really matters, but we've got time now, so I guess good.
Make it a big chunky episode.
Let's make a big chunky episode. So I call this part the Surgesayers of the Thalasurge.
Ooh, see, there's that word Thalasurge again. I love it.
Though the people of the celestial deep are superstitious and believe in a dizzying variety of deities and spirits, magic is not a real part of the material world. Nevertheless, one could be fooled into accepting the miraculous if one were ever to come face to face with a Surgesayer. Such a person is said to be able to move objects with their thoughts, read minds and influence those of weak character, as well as conjure up limited elemental forces at will. Though there are fewer than 100 of these individuals among all the worlds of the deep, each of them possesses abilities which are on some level indistinguishable from magic. Modern research, however, has done a lot to dispel the myths about them and to shed light on the processes which allow them to perform their small acts of almost sorcery, all using the contemporary framework of the scientific method. Their power flows from the subspace realm known as the Thalasurge. Most people recognize it as a series of intersecting wormholes, tunnels which crisscross reality beneath the waters of the celestial deep. These strange burrows through which most ships equipped with slurbrine ignition drives travel are saturated with exotic elements known collectively as surge motes. The Surgesayer is able to manipulate the frequencies of the surge motes in some way and bring them temporarily out of the Thalasurge and into physical space. Their interactions with conventional physics are what gives the Surgesayers their power. In modern engineering, it is these particles which interact with slurbrine and the SID engines, allowing vessels to tear holes into the Thalasurge and move through it. And yet, scientists do not believe the particles are naturally occurring at all, and a popular theory posits they were seeded in some way in prehistory by civilizations unknown. Often, this theory is linked to the outlier stations and their origins. In any case, Surgesayers are rare indeed. Though some roleplay as emissaries of the gods, sorcerers, and machine speakers, there exists no unified culture or society of these folk as far as anyone can tell. They pop up fairly randomly across the worlds of the deep, but so rarely that their presence is not a disruptive element that it could otherwise be. The High Imperiads of Montarum have always sought to keep at least one Surgesayer in an advisory role, believing that wisdom flowed through their veins, based upon pre-modern misconceptions of the phenomenon.
Fantastic shit. Our sci-fi psychers and whatnot.
Sci-fi psychers,
yeah. No, there's a lot that can be done with this. I had a dozen ideas while you were talking.
Brilliant, because this was sort of the limit of my ideas, because I had this sort of feeling that like I don't want to fantasy it up too much, and I also don't want to make it too powerful or disruptive to society, as you know, like if you had wizards running around. And then I was thinking about the Babylon 5 spin-off Crusade.
Oh gosh, yes, okay.
And I don't know if you remember, but there in Babylon 5, there is a society of technomages. They're not actually wizards.
Nope.
I believe they just like cyber manipulate machines and nanites and stuff. And I sort of thought, and they're obviously not enough of them to basically become, I don't know, like a ruling class or anything like that. They're just like wandering hermits. There's not that many of them. So that was my main inspiration. Just like how can we fit this into our own world?
Yeah. All right, cool. I'll bear that in mind. That's a new avenue to think about. I just think Okay, question for you, and maybe we should say this for words, but it's right on top of my mind now.
That's okay.
Do you think the Leviathans travel via the Thalasurge? Or can, or that they do?
This is a great question. I don't know. I never thought of them as traveling through the Thalasurge.
Because the slow brine comes from them, so they definitely have some connection to the Thalasurge. Do you think sometimes?
Well, maybe, but that's like saying the dead trees and dinosaurs that produce oil have some connection to car engines.
Exactly. It's
right, like it's tenuous.
It is tenuous, but it exists.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I never. So in my head, and this is all. Of course, this can change.
Yes,
and I'm okay with that. In my head, I always saw them as like slow ships, basically.
Yeah,
you know, like.
But wouldn't it be? I'm just thinking it would be interesting if like everyone's just used to the fact that these Leviathans are massive. You don't lose a Leviathan for the most part.
That's right.
But sometimes you do, and
yeah, could be.
How do you lose a planet-sized creature? Yeah. It's just something to think about. I'm not coming down one way or the other at this point.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, you know, that does open up some interesting ideas. And if we were looking at this sort of like top down as like not just as a gameable thing, but like I sometimes like to look at our settings as what would this look like in a TV show?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the scope for like characters exploring and running into some problems? Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that your last point was on some humans with abilities, so is mine. Once again, we have some serious crossover. This section is entitled "The Blue Bloods."
The Blue Bloods. Okay, I love that. Okay, let's go.
Sometimes, when one of the early ice miners was out in the water, they would stay out too long, or there'd be an accident and their protective gear would be compromised, and the diver would quickly begin to freeze to death. Given how long it takes to cycle through an airlock, this was almost always fatal. But not always. Sometimes they would wake up when warmed, and they were changed by the cold of the bitter dark. Their blood was now a bright blue colour that tinged the whites of their eyes a pale aqua, and they were now insensible to cold, while suffering not at all in regular temperatures. Most immediately useful for these dark sea marinauts was that their blue blood gained a sensitivity to sources of heat and loci of cold that was greatly enhanced when they were out in the deep, allowing them to guide the vessel in ways not even modern technology can replicate today. This evolution was not without consequential cost. A blue blood can only subsist on normal food for a few days before they grow weak and die after a week or so. Blue bloods require the heat of the living to survive. Simple atmospheric or surface heat does not work any more than a man can sup upon the light of the luminous void. The blue blood must touch a living creature, flesh to flesh, and then will their victim's heat into themselves. If they merely sip at the heat through a handshake, then a person might only feel a chill, while a long hug would lead to hypothermia. A lengthy embrace can freeze the living solid and leave the blue blood somewhat somnolent and replete from the feast. They need not feed from humans, though the creatures of the celestial deep provide much less to consume. The blue bloods quickly became the leaders among the ice miners and are the driving forces behind the formation of the Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati, and are still in charge today. Their existence and abilities are a secret that has been leaking into public knowledge now for decades. Finally, the secret within the secret is that every blue blood hears the data ballad of a Leviathan no one else can. Hear it and understand it, though none have ever seen it. It calls itself the Far Scale Solid and lives deep, deep in the bitter dark. It asks its listeners to undertake acts of kindness, just like its colossal Coreward mutualist kin, though it offers not slurbrine in payment, but knowledge instead. Primarily where it is best to find ice in the dark, and where ice pirates outside the Fellowship can be found so they can be stopped. It is a jealous Leviathan.
So you created Squid Satan.
And, like, heat vampires?
And heat vampires. This is amazing. I love this so much. Yeah. Oh my God. Your contributions this episode have been amazing.
It's been a good episode for both of us, I think.
Yeah, we're amazing.
Hell yeah.
And God, where's our awards? Where's our parade? I don't know. I don't have much to say about that except that like my brain is firing on all cylinders right now with like expansion ideas for all of these. So
Cool. I have this mental image of blue bloods being able to like swim out of the of a vessel and with nothing more than a breathing mask, and in the freezing cold they'll like locate where like other ships are from their heat and where icebergs are.
honestly, my favorite part about this is the secret Leviathan that gives them knowledge. Like that's really cool. I feel like this is an episode. This is a several sessions of a game. Definitely.
That perhaps the Leviathan far scale solid is potentially even
Fast scale solid, yes. Oh my god.
You've had such fantastic names for Leviathans. It's been I had to come up with something that was at least as good as what did you come up with today? The never too late to quit.
Yeah, never too late to quit. So my naming convention for the Coreward Pact Leviathans so far has just been they need to be a short sentence and they need to have the word never in them. But that's just for me. And the reason why I do that is because of the wonderful culture novels by Ian Banks, where he describes a utopian society run by super intelligent minds, basically, and all the ships that exist there and are powered by those minds have kind of interesting or funny or like self-referential names that are sometimes kind of like run-on sentences, which I just found really, I don't know, just really thematic. There's just something very appealing about that.
I remembered Never a Broken Promise and Never Too Late to Quit. They're great names for strange, unknowable giant leviathans. And since I decided this one was a mutualist in a sense, that it needed something similar, it doesn't, honestly, just while we're talking, I kind of want to add the word never to it now, or maybe
always.
I'm going to say now I'd like to change my own thing to from far scale solid to always far scale solid.
Always far scale solid.
It's not a proper sentence, but
no. That works. I like that.
Just to, because I really like your idea for the naming theme scheme, and I will stick to it myself if I come up with any of Coreward Pact Leviathans. Because I think it's a great idea. I think it's good.
Hooray!
All right, speaking of great ideas and using them.
This is where Aaron and I go away. We go into our own mind spheres and we tweak or change or do something to the other's contributions. And then we come back.
Challenge it or expand it, generally speaking.
Challenge or expand. Yeah, right. Or delete.
I don't think we've done much deleting. We have done some deleting, it's true.
We have done a little bit of deleting, yeah. All right, man. See you when I see you.
Absolutely.
Shortly.
World War Words.
We have returned from World War Word.
You've returned.
World War Words?
I've just turned.
You've just turned.
Yep.
As you mentioned, we did have a nice, thick, juicy fable fodder.
It's true.
Those are the exact words you used, and I think that you are brave for it, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate you appreciating my bravery.
Fantastic. Who shall go first?
You should go first. You started with the fable fodder, so you should start with the World War Words.
I feel like I have a lot of ideas for a lot of these things, but I'm going to start with... So I've only done 2 bits, really, 2 bits, and the first bit has to do with the Strom, that very cool trading company family. Which I really enjoyed. And I wanted to just like tie it back a little bit into some of the stuff that we've been, or I've been talking about previously regarding Mantarum and stuff like that. So I really liked the stuff that you set up there. I think the kind of fickle leviathans and things like that. So I want to see where we can go with that. So my contribution is the current head of the family, Elisaria Strom, is the inheritor of the complex machine that the STF has become. She is a scholarly woman, rarely leaving the vast library asteroids gathered by her ancestors around the small port of Big Regret. Meticulous and personally involved in every aspect of the business, Elisaria is a knowledge seeker of some great renown in academic circles. Though outwardly concerned with gathering tomes and research of a biological nature, there is a covert aspect to her unending investigations. Of particular interest to her are the studies of data ballads as they pertain to interspecies communication, as well as the activities of the High Imperiad Noble Society of Leviathan Sciences. You see, Elisaria is working with a theory, one taught to her by her parents and to them by their parents, all the way from Thaniel Strom himself, that the misfortune brought down upon the Stroms by the Leviathans was manufactured by the Mantarum ruling class. She has determined, for example, that the High Imperiad Kirvina ext im Ledanad ig Perisi has poured a fortune into the society of late, escalating a trend which has been occurring for several generations now. She believes that current research pertaining to controlling Leviathans is based upon an event in the past initiated by those same Imperiads. Her great-great-great ancestors' belief that the Leviathans were somehow manipulated into crushing the STF looks to be vindicated in the near future. But, she wonders, why it was the Strom family who suffered so greatly from this experiment, and why, as far as she or anyone else can tell, it has not been successfully replicated since. That's it.
I have a thought.
I love thoughts.
You say that this idea that the Imperiad is manipulating the Leviathans, or at least their message.
So that was one of the things when I first started talking about the current High Imperiad is that she's funding lots of research into how do we control a Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
With this, the idea was maybe this goes back a long way. Maybe there's a conspiracy. Maybe there's a
I like that. The only thing is that you said in your little texting that it traced right back to the founder, Thaniel, but during Thaniel's lifetime, the Strom family only became stronger for things. Now, I don't think that it just needs a little tweak, that's all. That Thaniel Strom certainly was happy to take the upswell of his own fortunes and so forth, but that as he was such a brilliant individual, he did, because it takes a brilliant individual to say, oh, good, things are going great for me, but I still think it's a product of a conspiracy. And whilst I am, and me and my family are successful now, since that could change at the whim of potentially a beast, but more likely, I think, this High Imperiad conspiracy, he is still the initiator of this line of thinking. And that's why, right from the beginning, even at their height, the Strom family kept a number of vessels, and essentially they had an escape hatch plan, which is how they managed to survive, thanks to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So really, this requires just a rewriting. So,
just a tweak.
Thaniel Strom himself, that the initial great rise and eventual misfortune brought down upon the Stroms by the Leviathans was manufactured by the Mantarum ruling class.
Yep. Maybe throw in a line somewhere about, which is why they had a plan to escape their downfall or survive their downfall, something like that.
Yeah. It was the origin of their successful exit strategy.
Perfect. I love this.
From the Coreward Pact. Yeah.
Look at this, collaborative storytelling and setting design in practice.
Literally it. And you can even hear the pleasing clicks of my keyboard as I wrote that in. Okay, cool. That seems to have worked pretty well.
So, masks. I love masks. I want to do more with this whole mask thing, but I decided just for today to explore what I discussed in Table Fodder, the expanding a little bit on the face stealer myth that that sort of begins it all. So here's what I've got.
All right, let's go.
While the face stealer myth takes many forms, there are some commonalities of theme. The prevention of progress. The targets of the face stealer or stealers, whatever form it might take, are leaders and unifiers, bold explorers and revolutionary thinkers. While the details vary tremendously, each culture's face stealer myth is related to them having to overcome the entity or entities to progress beyond some kind of cultural stasis early in their development. In the modern era, most people don't actually believe that masks are needed to protect oneself from an old fiction, but simply associate masks and the wearing of masks with progress and civilized behavior, thus the term barefaced barbarian, and the contempt with which that term is used. Though the face stealer myth is not universal and highly variable, it is extremely common, which has led to increasingly crackpot researchers trying to determine the truth behind them and locate the face stealer or stealers. Recently, the previously esteemed explorer and scientist Suryan Aveda has been loudly advocating a connection between the Chromian outliers and the mythical face stealers, and has been laughed out of respectable academia. He, however, of late found a mentor and an avenue to continue publishing with the Bernadette Skeel of the Outlier Limits magazine, and some of their more recently published materials have the more open-minded wondering if they may have judged too quickly.
Yes.
Connections
Yes,
back
perfect.
to the Outlier Limits.
Whoa, that's so good, man. That's yeah. Circles within circles. No, that's really good. That's really good. I like that a lot. And especially because I like that there is like that commonality between the different myths that you can, people can draw like all different conclusions, and perhaps something interesting did happen in the past. Perhaps this was a problem of some kind that current cultures just kind of dimly remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought maybe was it too obvious a connection to bring the Outliers in, but
No. I mean, they're there.
They're there.
All right, my next part. This is my final part, really. I loved all your stuff. I do have some more ideas about the Blue Bloods and the Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati, but I wanted to just have a little aside about your secret Leviathan.
Oh, superb. Excellent.
I don't know. Look, I don't know if this one works, so feel free to challenge me on this one if you think this doesn't quite fit. So
Sure.
let's see how it goes. So you wrote that it is a jealous Leviathan. The particular knowledge delivered by Always Far-Scale Solid is most often related to the acquisition of ice, but generosity is not a core attribute of this creature. In this way, Blue Bloods will often find themselves tackling complex acts of kindness to achieve their goals, many bringing them into direct conflict with smaller leviathans of the bitter dark. The people of the Coreward Pact and Outer Treaty on the whole are ignorant about these creatures, but as far out as the ice miners venture, they are intimately acquainted with the vicious monsters which exist in the lightless depth. These leviathans are barely the size of a fishing boat, but their data ballads, which the Blue Bloods have been empowered by their patron to hear, swirl with dark and vicious thoughts. Ice miners approaching these smaller leviathans, here colloquially referred to as scourges, begin to hear the voices of their loved ones confessing to them cruel truths and dark secrets. These are always true things. The scourges do not lie, though they are able to manipulate and twist the truth in subtle ways. Subtle and unsubtle ways. When within visual range of one of these creatures, each holding a unique form, the whispers cease and the visual hallucinations begin. These range from unpleasant strobing colors to visions of the dead or the missing. At their worst, the victim's mind becomes overwhelmed with apparitions of scenes and scenarios showcasing and encouraging some great atrocity, not simply murder, but truly debased acts of madness and cruelty. Always Far-Scale Solid seems obsessed with the scourges and encourages its subjects to seek them out. In 2 cases, it has requested a scourge to be captured by the Blue Bloods, though in both situations the expeditions did not return. Some among the Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati have begun to whisper that their contact with the scourges has altered the creature's movements, and that they appear now more often closer to inhabited worlds of the Outer Treaty. Others worry that they are being set up for some terrible and wicked purpose, though none are sure what that may be, and their need for ice and heat means they are stuck in a holding pattern with their patron. As for Always Far-Scale Solid, it relies on the secrecy of its subjects, and has of course been communicating with others in the Celestial Deep. But the truth is that it is a unique creature even by the bizarre standards set by other Leviathans. It is unable to dwell in the higher order realities inhabited by its cousins, and nor is it able to communicate with them using its data ballad. It is simply incompatible with its kind in some fundamental way. It was born irreparably broken, and all its actions are that of a creature unconnected to others of its species, a terribly lonely thing without a shred of empathy or warmth. Its physical form exists somewhere out there, isolated in both body and mind.
That is genuinely creepy, and I love it. And you followed precisely where I was going when you started talking about the Scourges, these sort of smaller but aggressively malign leviathans. I was like, so that's a growing problem, right? They're coming in closer, and you were like, and now they're sort of being driven closer to the outer treaty planets. I was like, yep, no, fantastic. That's another growing threat for GMs to play with.
That's another big capital P problem.
Yes. Just confirming, the auditory and visual hallucinations, are they only heard by the Blue Bloods or by anyone who gets close?
I would say, you know what? I feel like probably because the Blue Bloods can hear the data ballads, right? I would say probably there's some minor effect on others, but the Blue Bloods would hear and feel it more keenly. I'm not really sure. I had this idea because they can hear the secret Leviathan's data ballad and interpret it in some way, always fast scale solid. And I had this idea that it somehow like opened them up to also hearing other data ballads, perhaps not the very complex ones of the great Leviathans. That would be too much, but these ones. But I think there should also be like some kind of threat that the Scourges pose to others. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
What about that? The Blue Bloods are simply more susceptible, that they can hear the Scourges' data ballads, or rather, they're the only ones who consciously hear it, but anybody who gets relatively close begins to hear it just entirely subconsciously. And one of the dangers of the Bitter Dark that is just unknown is that entire crews can go completely mad from this subconscious thing, and that Scourge-born raiders or something like that are these like berserk things. All right, I'm gonna add Scourge-born raider.
Because we've invented Reavers.
Yes, we have. In its own very cool way. Oh right, me. I'm supposed to go next.
It's you. It's your turn. Would you believe it? Can you believe it? I can believe it. Habibit.
I don't have a huge amount for my second one. I just wanted to add a little extra spice to your section on Galave, or Galave, sorry. Galave. Was it Galave?
I think it was Galave.
Okay, Galave. You know what? No, Galave, I love it.
You love Galave?
Galave, yes. No, 100%. I just need to put the accented E in there. But I'll do that later when I'm not
I don't know if it means an accented E. Anyway.
Galave.
Galave.
There have long been small but dangerous groups of Galavian terrorists loosely bound together under the banner of the Galavian Supremacy Revolution that believe that their people are naturally superior to the dry lungs and drowners. They primarily act against the Imperiad, but have caused issues across the deep. Pressure placed upon the Galavian regime to rein in these extremists has long been ineffectual.
Okay.
I just thought, as soon as you added some Piscean folks to our water setting, I like the idea that instead of people sort of, oh look, strange mutants, let's conquer them. It's sort of the reverse. The mutants were like dry lungs, drowners.
Okay. No, I like that a lot. You've put in some magical racicism.
Yes.
Yay!
Speciesism? I don't know.
Speciesism? Yeah.
I did have a question, and I didn't even think to write it down. I would argue that Galavians and other humans are able to procreate, that they are just species. They're not inhuman.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because we talked about it. That was one of the, I think that was one of the, either the first or second myth information, which was the humans are the only species. And then we said, yes, but what human means is very broad here.
Yeah. And then we added sapient ants. But that's, yes.
That's right.
There are no half ant, half humans. We've just...
Yeah, actually, probably not. Yeah, no. This is gross. What does an ant's dick look like? Probably not great. Not like a beautiful human dick.
All right. I do have a longer section. Do you have a third thing?
I do not. No, this is it. This is it, my friend.
I wanted to expand a little bit on the Surgesayers. I had so many ideas, and I've cut them down to very much just the basics. First thing, discussion point. You said there was about less than 100. And my first thought was that we are making a setting for an RPG. There is definitely going to be a player who wants to play a cool water wizard.
Yes, but it should be just one. Like, there shouldn't be a party of them.
I was simply going to suggest that, I agree. Just to expand the numbers slightly, there's less than 100 in the Coreward Pacts and not much more than that in the Outer Treaty worlds.
Yeah. That works. Yeah. I think, when media that runs into this kind of like numbers problem is also media that tries to like define and quantify everything. So like if you say, well, there are 93 Jedi in the galaxy, and by the end of this decade, you know all their names.
And then you've locked yourself in. That's actually my problem is that by saying there's less than 100, I just feel that that's too few. I don't know. It just feels like then they're too rare. They become objects of fascination. I mean, they should still be, but
they should. No, I get that. I think it's probably immaterial how many exactly they are. Just say not many.
Not many. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Now I've got a little written piece on the limitation and costs of Surgesaying.
Yes.
The amount of surge motes in an area is highly variable and maps somewhat to the relationship between the physical world and the tunnels of the Thalassurge that run beneath and through reality. Thus, a Surgesayer in an area far from any of these tunnels or a dry space may not be capable of anything or only the most minor of effects. Near one of the smaller common subsidiary tunnels or veins of the Thalassurge, they can create miraculous effects. While if they find a large tunnel or artery, or even better, an intersection of such, they can do truly amazing and terrifying things. The larger tunnels do not normally intersect in or anywhere near planets. Manipulating the frequency of surge motes and bringing them out of the subspace can have deleterious effects that an incautious Surgesayer might fail to account for, but even the most careful and wise Surgesayer will experience some of these throughout their lives, as the power of the Thalassurge is the power of the deep and the Leviathans, and never entirely in human control. Common minor side effects include losing small items on their person or near them as they are sucked into subspace, the crumpling or tearing of weak materials as space warps, or the Surgesayer themselves being pulled along by the subspace current and appearing to teleport a few meters in the direction of the tunnel's flow. Major accidents can draw multiple people into the Thalassurge to an uncertain death, warp space such that steel buckles and bones are mangled, or draw the Surgesayer through the Thalassurge and cause them to reappear far away, which is likely fatal if that space is out into the deep. These side effects are one of the reasons there are so few of the Surgesayers.
Absolutely. These are good limitations. It's one of those things that I really like. Some of that touches on actually something I really like from fantasy wizards, which is like that idea of like wild magic, where you do something and it maybe works, but then something bad happens and you don't know what it's going to be.
I wanted to, because the Thalassurge is a place of like subspace and movement, I wanted the consequences to be related to that. So yes, things getting sucked into it, space sort of like momentarily warping a bit as the two commingle, or yes, you get teleported along the flow, which theoretically could be a useful thing if you could control it. But on the other hand, when we have a whole setting where you're inside ships and like planets surrounded by water and so forth, being teleported any sort of distance without knowing precisely where you're going is it's a quick way to die.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like that whole thing if you time travel and like you're not also space traveling, then you just end up being dead in space.
Unless you're very, very careful with your time travel and you always come back to but even then, cool, blimey, can't be a second off, can you?
No, you'd be a smudge, basically.
I do have one final idea that perhaps Thalassurges might use.
Do you mean Surgesayers?
Surgesayers, my apologies. Surgesayers might use slurbrine in its liquid form and carry it on their person, and that might essentially be surge motes in liquid physical form to some degree, and they're able to.
Could be. Hey, there was one of the things that we did. One of the myth informations was that drinking Slurbrine specifically did something. Give me a second, because I will pull this. I'm going to pull it right out. And I think that's one you chose, actually. Yeah, Slurbrine, when ingested in sufficient quantities and over a prolonged period, can cause a mortal individual to undergo a process known as rapid evolutionary cascade, a potentially advantageous but most frequently fatal event. But if they are a Surgesayer, it is possible that maybe it has a slightly different effect on them. And maybe they're not constantly drinking it or anything, but maybe they're just putting it on their tongue or something. Maybe that awakens something.
They get blue lips, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I like that idea, actually. Yeah. Do we think Slurbrine is sort of a brilliant blue, a little bit like the Blue Bloods blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah,
I think it has to be now, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I originally thought of it as like a black oily thing, but now it's blue. I think about it as blue. I like that.
Cool. Canon. All right. Beautiful. Well, speaking of our 3 truths, 3 facts thingy.
Speaking of myth information.
Thank you.
Yes, very good. Speaking of myth information, let's get inside of our myth information.
Yes.
Let's get inside of it. Myth information. So let me tell you about my 3 myth informations. One of these will become canon, or as canon as we get in this podcast, and the other 2 will become lies. So the first myth information is the outlier stations were never the homes of aliens or ancient marinauts, but remain to this day creatures in their own right. Number 2, cannibalism is frequently practiced by the societies of the celestial deep, and it is largely not a taboo. And number 3, a theory gaining some popularity in scientific circles states that the luminous void is a kind of natural pump, and that the light and material it is ejecting into the celestial deep comes from somewhere else. And those are my 3 myth informations for today.
They are big ones. So much bigger than mine. I'm pretty confident which one I like. And that is the third one, that the luminous void is a pump. Or at least that is a recent theory that is being that is gaining traction.
Okay.
Because to me, the first thing that that leads me is that there's it's popular amongst the rationalists, and then there are all the sort of traditionalists and the various religions that find that anywhere between offensive to wildly enraging, and I find that inherently interesting.
Nice, I like it. That's it. That's one of the recent theories then, and it's the pump theory. I will add to this that I've always envisioned, I don't know how you have, but I've always envisioned the luminous void to be kind of like the other end of a black hole.
Yeah, no, that's and it's light and heat and warmth. It's something like a superstar too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not like Taylor Swift, our favorite superstar.
Cool.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right.
Okay, cool. Love it.
Now I've got 3 facts for you, and I know one of them is not going to be the truth because I came up with these 3 facts before you introduced an element today that will make one of them unlikely to be true.
Ooh, okay.
So
just encouraging me to make that one true to ruin our lore.
Yeah, it's up to you.
On.
They are all over the place. So fact 1, the data ballads of Leviathans are dangerous to listen to as they can cause folk to go mad. The superstition against whistling whilst aboard a vessel is so strong that it leads to beatings, formal punishment, and in times of war, potentially death. And the third one is, as facial hair can interfere with the breathing masks those that go into the water must use, it has become a symbol of the elite to have large and or long beards, which is a bit difficult if you're wearing a mask all the time.
Well, unless the masks also accommodate your big bushy beard.
Chaos Dwarf style.
But imagine it. Okay, first of all, I'm making that one canon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now let me tell you why.
All right.
Because now we're in a situation, right, where your masks are also molded to have big beards, right?
Yes.
You're starting to date someone, they take off their mask, they don't have a beard. Huh?
Hey, yeah.
Now that's a social layer that is really interesting to me.
Yeah, all right. Okay, cool. You're right. I think
Yeah.
that's interesting now.
I love that a lot, actually. Yeah.
So beards are another symbol of like eliteness and
Wealth,
nobility.
yeah,
Wealth,
the ability, or you don't have to go out in the water.
Yeah.
And perhaps, like, you know, people putting on airs, they would have masks that are like, you know, like, yeah.
When there are theatres and plays, they have characters wearing masks. They've always got, like, the pompous king has the most enormous beard.
Yes. Yeah. No. That's really
All right,
that's
yeah, that's
gold,
cool.
man.
All right,
That's
I
more
love it.
culture.
Yeah. Beard
Okay,
culture.
we did it. Oh my god, we did it.
Beard culture.
Jesus Christ, man.
No, I'm Aaron. You can tell because.
Oh, sorry, Aaron. Jesus, Aaron Christ. Aaron, it's time for us to jump to conclusions.
Oh, righty. I do have my feet currently in like a little bucket of water because it's seriously hot here, so it's going to be sort of a damp jump, but sure.
A damp jump. You know what? This works.
True. Yes, we're a very damp setting.
The
splashy.
celestial damp.
the celestial dip.
All right, brilliant. Okay, jumping to conclusions. We're in it. Jumping to conclusions. Let's jump to them.
A lot of culture stuff today.
A lot of culture stuff. Yeah. I gotta say, I was so delighted by the icebreakers that you introduced. Icebreakers in general, the name, the
Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati.
Endarkened Fellowship of the Fridgerati. I feel like there's like even there's more for these guys to do. I feel like in the setting as well, besides be kind of abused warmth vampires. But yeah, no, look, it works. I mean, the Strom family as well, the trading company, this idea that like Leviathans, maybe they're being fickle, then, you know, maybe something's happened. Like, that's great. It's all up in the air.
It is. And I really like what you did with them, because when I wanted to put some smugglers in play, because I basically felt like smugglers were an important part of any traveling watery sort of scenario.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
But what you've done is the smugglers could have just been pretty plain ordinary. Yes, I'd wove them into history as sort of the fallen East India Trading Company-ish type thing. And that was base interesting. But what you've done is made them potentially heroic. Maybe they are the ones who are going to reveal the fact that the Imperiad has been manipulating the data ballads, or manipulating Leviathans directly.
Or they could be wrong.
Or they could be vastly wrong, and they could be overthrowing the natural order of things, causing the Leviathans to break their agreements with the Coreward Pacts. And
exactly. I think there's like so much scope. Again, looking at this as like, you know, this is not an episode. This is a season of like something, right? Like there's so much to do here. I want to. As much as I want to play in Heliacon, I also want to play in this setting as well.
If we make a setting that we don't want to play in, then we are definitely doing something wrong.
Like a cool setting where we all play ice agents, and you have a meter of how many minorities you can put a bullet into.
That is just a murder hobo campaign.
That's a murder hobo campaign.
Yeah.
That's America.
It's lovely to see the Americans standing in up against them. There are so many more of them standing against the thugs and
there are
heroes.
some very good people in America.
Yes.
Some of them are American.
It's true. So, other jumping to conclusion type things, right, as I push us away from the misery of global politics. I always appreciate you giving us places to go and to build around. You did it a great deal in Heliacon, and the addition of the 4 Coreward Pact planets that you've given us, 5, sorry,
I think,
is great. And they've all seeded other avenues, like with the computing and our Piscean fellows and whatnot.
I liked it because I think everything that we put into this world, it doesn't have to be just one thing, right? Like it can create other paths for us to tread,
and should.
Yeah.
I think if one of the things that our listeners can take away from us is that if you come up with an idea yourself, come back to it and collaborate with yourself and say, how can I find a way to twist this, to add hooks onto it that link to other parts of what I'm inventing, or at least point to something. If you've got a hook point and you don't have it attaching to anything, like the UBM data cards and punch things and so forth. We haven't explored that. That is just a giant hook that's waiting for us to put the other link in the chain.
That's right. And it and maybe you'll pick it up, or I'll pick it up, or we'll both pick it up, and then we'll have to fight about it.
Exactly. To the death. No, well, first blood, maybe.
No, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think there's so much scope in this setting. It's so good. And I think I'm finding now I'm able to, like, maybe episode 1 and 2, I had a little bit of trouble visualizing some of these things, but once you started, like in episode 2, once you started like putting in the things about the vessels and how all that stuff works, I have a much clearer picture of what like that world looks like. I
appreciate that, and I think you've done the same for me with the Coreward Pacts and the I think the Leviathans. Like, I had my idea, but I'm coming more and more to your view of the Leviathans. I still like my semi-savage ones, but
I think like, I mean, it's mixed, right? So like now I'm coming more to your side. I think we're meeting in the middle.
Yes,
because now, like, we talked about the Scourges, for example, right? Scourges are so far from my vision of what the Leviathans were initially, but I think I think it works better. I think
having them both, the weird, like, water Satan and the Scourges, and even then you've got an eldritch bent to those Scourges that I really quite like.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got Water Satan, we have Hallucination Animal, we have
we've got Metal
Animal.
Sharks.
Metal Sharks, it's so good. We've got Poo Snails.
We do. That might be us. This is going to be a long episode.
I think this is, at my count, it is 3 hours now, but a lot of that will get cut out because it's nothing. It's dead air.
Yes, there's probably.
But it will be a longer one, I think, than usual. And I think it's going to sound bloody excellent, Aaron.
I reckon
bloody
so.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's going to be a right ripper. It is.
Ripper.
I can't really do a knocker accent.
I can't do it either. So in that case, I would like to say thank you to our listeners, all of them, every single person listening right now. I want to thank you personally. I want to give you a handshake and give you a little kiss on the cheek, not the lips, because that's for my wife only. Hey, were you kissed on the lips as a child, Aaron, by your parents?
No.
I was. This is a European thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah. My dad and mum used to kiss me on the lips. I have never done this to any of my children. I don't because fundamentally, I know where kids' lips have been. Like, you don't want that. Anyway, Aaron is a game master, dungeon master in Adelaide, and if you would like to have a game DM'd, GM'd, anything M'd by him, you can click the link to Metal Phoenix Studios that is in the link description, and you can give him some money, lots of money, I hope, and he can do that for you.
If you want to give both of us money, then you should definitely follow the link to our Patreon. Which we are starting to expand, and there'll be a few little extra bits and pieces that only our Patreons will get, and they will also get access to the episodes earlier than anyone else.
Earlier so far, people are getting access to episodes 5 days in advance. In the future, it might be even more days in advance. We'll see how things go.
We're experimenting.
We are experimenting. There are more things. There are more cool recordings. And you know what? This is not trickle down or trickle out economics. If you want to give us money, you're going to get special stuff. And if you don't want to give us money, then you'll be locked out. You'll be excluded. You will be drawn and quartered. You will be put into a box and you'll be mailed to your own parents in the past. And they're not going to have you. They're not going to make love to have you as a child. And then you're going to cease to exist.
But you won't be kissed on the lips.
But you won't be kissed on the lips. Thanks, everyone. Bye.